Hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we are live on a Sunday afternoon, which means it's time for us to be talking about coping with stress. I hope you've had a wonderful weekend and that it wasn't too stressful. And if it was, let's talk about that. I am excited to be able to say that every week that goes by, I am getting closer to having less boxes in my house. For those of you who don't know, I have just recently, a couple of weeks ago, moved back into my house after being in temporary housing for 6 months while they rebuilt my house after a fire, part of my house, not all of it. And so it is very exciting to me to be able to get to the point where I am clearing up that many boxes. And definitely, I think I've got 4 left in my bedroom at the moment. And so that is not as stressful. It really made a difference being able to get to the second part of my closet, because I could put so many more things back into the closet. And as you will hear, I did have a bit of stress trying to do plan B on something in my bedroom, but I'll talk to you about that in a minute. But basically, I am doing pretty well, and I'm quite proud of myself and not feeling stressed about how I'm doing with the unpacking. However, the challenge that I have, and that's the topic this weekend, all our broadcasts this weekend have been about challenge. My challenge this weekend was to rest the body. And I don't know if any of you have that issue as well, where I almost feel guilty if I stop and rest, because I know how much more there is to do. And do any of you relate to that? By the way, hi, Chris, and hi, Jody. Hi, Jeannie. Jeannie, I know I always call you Jeannie, not Jean. Is that okay? I guess after all this time, it must be, otherwise you would have squawked a little bit. Anyway, I just wanted to say that things are progressing as they should. I just wondered whether any of you got to watch the funeral of Prince Philip yesterday. And if so, I just wanted to make a couple of comments about that. It was worth waking up to watch, as far as I was concerned. And I know that many of you probably did that the same. That is your name, Jeannie, not Jean. I'm so glad I've been calling you that. I don't know why it suddenly came up. I guess because you were giving me all the names. By the way, I will talk about it in a second, but Jeannie sent me some great names for the various plants in our nursery here. Your dad named you after your grandmother, Jeannie. Okay, so that's awesome. You know, it's funny because, I know somebody who spells it the same way that calls it Jean. And I just thought, something after all this time, it's probably time I double checked. So I'm glad I did. All right, so for those of you who did or did not watch the funeral, I don't know, I was uncomfortable. Let me first of all start off. It was so amazing to see how few people were in the chapel. I think it was 22 or something. I mean, that was really quite stunning to me, for a royal funeral. But it also showed how seriously the royal family takes social distancing. I mean, when you saw the distance between the family members, each little pod of family sat together, but then the distance between the next group was quite significant. And that to me made the Queen sitting on her own. It made it really difficult to watch for me. It was just like, how difficult that must have been. Can you imagine having a funeral for your husband of 73 years and the world is watching you. I mean, I can't even talk about it without being in tears, never mind do what the Queen did. Let me move right on, though. She is an amazing woman, and all credit from me to her, really, to be able to do what she did. Mind-blowing. I found it amazing because where all the public guests would normally have been, there were no chairs, and they had taken out all those pews away, and then the choir stood there. The choir of, I think, 4 or 5 people, and boy, the acoustics in that chapel, weren't they amazing for those of you who actually watched? And there were the members of the choir got more airtime than anybody else. Individually, there must have been a lot of very proud mothers watching their children sing at the funeral, because they were front and center so many times. And I was going, there is a mother somewhere really proud of that son and that daughter. I really amazing to watch that. But I was so stunned with the acoustics, the sound that reverberated. And I wasn't aware of them wearing mics of any sort. So, just amazing. I don't know about the rest of you. The most poignant moment for me, the most sort of the one that got my gut, other than watching the Queen, was watching the lone piper walk away. That really got me. There's something very, very moving about a piper, Highland piper anyway. But, to watch him walk away like that, it was just like, wow. There was a lot of airtime given to William and Harry. And I want to say that they sort of saying, oh, well, this must be them, mending the rift. I don't know about you guys, but if you've had a family squabble to the level of which Harry and William have, I don't think that even getting together for the funeral of your grandfather is going to mend that. That maybe I'm just being negative. I just know it takes a lot longer than a couple of months to mend that sort of a rift. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens. And for those of you who didn't see it, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, wasn't there. It was said that her doctor had told her not to travel. And one has to wonder whether, in fact, the Queen asked for her not to be there. I don't know. It's just like, who knows? We will never know. Yes, and Jeannie's saying, perhaps the boys knew that a funeral was no place to display a poor temper. Yes, they kept they made a point of making sure the media saw the best that the media would want to see, which is them chatting. And Catherine was chatting to Harry as well, as they walked away at the end there. So to me, it was just like it was good optics, as they say. However, it was, I thought, a very moving thing to watch. Very simple and understated, which is what he would have wanted. And imagine, I would like to be carried on a Land Rover. He spent a lot of time driving his Land Rover. And I just, apparently he helped design that one. So that was really moving. I'm going to get control any minute now. All right. Thoughts and prayers. I wanted to give some thoughts and prayers to Jody today. For those of you who have watched the broadcast on Friday, you will know that she has had a bit of an infection going on, and that has caused a flare of her lymphoderma, which means that her body has started to balloon up again. And from what I gather, and correct me where I'm wrong here, Jody, her feet have ballooned up and it's come all the way up to, I think, up her legs again. Just give me the update on that one, if you will, Jody. But, I certainly relate to that and feel so sorry for you for that. Yeah, Jeannie, going back onto the funeral, Jeannie's saying, I cried because I thought of how many years Prince Philip stood in the background. Yes, he walked, a couple of steps behind for a lifetime. And except, of course, when he went on tour on his own, he went and visited quite often. He went and visited places on his own and then got to be front and center. But yes, for the main part, he spent a lifetime walking behind her. And that was the way protocol said it should be. And he obeyed that to a large extent. And I also, found it interesting that he chose to do more than just walk a couple of steps behind. He did a lot of work in the background. And he, was definitely involved in a lot of charities and things and did his best to be functional, other than Prince Consort to the Queen. I wanted to give a special thanks to, oh, by the way, Jody just updated us and said that the swelling has now gone from her feet to above her knees. So if you imagine that she was already working at getting that swelling down and had done, and here she is, not that far away from having a major operation, and now the lymphoderma has flared up again. So, Jody, I guess people would want to know what causes it to flare. Is there anything, or is it just sometimes it just has a bad hair day and it flares, and the result is that you balloon? And it's for those of you who have any trouble with edema, that's where your body swells. I have trouble with it, so but I don't have it to the extent that Jody does. Right, and Jeannie's saying, I have been praying for you, dear Jody, and will continue to do so. Yep, and thank you for that. And so, it's difficult, but boy, I must say that Jody handles it well. And if anybody else needs any thoughts and prayers, please let us know so that I can, keep you in the loop. I've got a couple of tips for you. I am going to be trying to get rid of some of the moss on top of my shed at the back of my house this week. And one of the things I'm going to do is take some Tide with bleach in it. First of all, I'm going to wet down the roof with a hose. And then I'm going to throw some Tide with bleach over it. That should be interesting to watch me do that. And then let it sit there for a couple of days. I think it's going to start raining again towards the end of the week. So what I'm going to do is give the Tide with bleach some time to work on the moss, and then let the rain do the rest of it. So it's going to be quite an interesting thing to do. The other thing I wanted to say was, I've just got a bag of tricks here for today's broadcast, but we were talking on Friday about using command strips to hang up artwork. And I think it was Kimmy who said that she had problems with it pulling the paint off. Here is the difficulty. The difficulty is, the idea, of course, is that you have one command strip that is adhered to your painting, then you attach the other half to it like this, okay? So it's like Velcro. And then you take off this strip and then you attach the whole lot to the wall. The problem that I found was that for some reason, even though it was a light canvas, and it was a light canvas, it pulled, one side pulled off, and it pulled the paint with it. Which, you know, when I've just had my house repainted was a bit of a no-no, but I decided not to panic. And what I did was I decanted a small amount, and this is a tip I'd like to give you. If you have got your house painted or whatever, put some paint into a small bottle. Because now what I could do was just literally squeeze out a little bit of paint. And then, you know, with a sponge paintbrush, just dab where that had come off. And quite honestly, I put 2 layers on, and you know, you'd need to know it was there. The other thing that I do, hold on a second, and I would say this because it works really well. For those of you who don't know how to do that, if this was the area where it pulled off, when I paint over it, I paint past the area all around like this. But then I clean off the paintbrush, clean the paint off the paintbrush and just leave it damp, not wet, damp. And then what I do is I blend these edges into the existing paint. And what that does is it ends up that you don't have any sort of obvious lines of paint. And it worked really well. Jeannie is saying that what she did is she had, if you remember, Jeannie is also about to move back into her house, but now has a situation where she has to move out of the temporary housing for a month. And she was saying that family members came to help her move furniture into the pod that she's got outside. And how do you keep that secure would be my question, Jeannie. And she was saying they all wore masks inside and out. Good girl. I'm proud to hear that. Just while we're waiting to find out how she secures. Oh, so it has a lock on it. Is that like a padlock or is it a digital lock? What sort of lock do they have on those things? It is said that a body needs rest. It needs a lot less exercise than you think. All right, and I want to just make sure that you understand the topic that I wanted to talk about was this business about there are days when pushing your body even more is not a very good idea. And the reason I wanted to push my body even more yesterday was because I was up to, hi Becca, I was up to close to 52,000 steps, which means I was just 4,000 steps behind a marathon. So if I had pushed on for a little longer, a lot longer, I could have made the marathon. And then I thought, why would I do that to myself? My body is tired. I also am noticing that when I sit on the futon that I have in my fireplace area, that is when I have trouble with my hips and my back. And I think that is because the futon is too low, you know, and this is where my knees are, this is where my legs are, but the angle, because it's too low, the angle here is from the knees to the hips is going downhill. So when I go to get up, that is a very difficult rise. So this week, I'm going to be buying some foam to bring up probably 9 to 12 inches so that I don't have to have, I'd rather be coming from that angle than trying to come from this angle. Apparently, my body no longer can do that. So, you've all got the tip of the day, which is make sure you have paint. And I've got 3 different colors in the house. I've got the contrast wall, which is it doesn't look like it here, but this dries almost a sort of French blue dark charcoal. That sounds terrible, doesn't it? Okay. There's a bit of a mess here, but let me know if I move that, there's going to be trouble. Anyway, it dries much darker than this. It's almost a dark, very dark French blue, and I love it. It's really good. So, and then I also have a lighter color, which is the contrast color, and then my trim is all white. So I've got now 2 bottles of each. And the reason is because there's not a lot of air getting to the paint here. If it's in the can, there's still a lot of air in the can, right? Because it's nearly empty. But in here, there's not a lot of air. So it's likely to stay longer and stay fresh better. Did anybody have any frustration since Friday that we need to hear about? If so, start typing. I have got far enough in my bedroom that I realized I'm probably ready now to order my dresser that I want to get. And I wanted to get it from IKEA because there's a particular dresser that I like of theirs. And I thought I'd order it up. So I tried. And I got 3/4 of the way through the system where it just wasn't going to let me go any farther. And I don't understand why. And I thought, well, I must be user error. I'm doing something wrong. But let me try it again tomorrow. Maybe it'll like me better tomorrow. Next day, I did the same thing again, and it stalled me at exactly the same price. So I thought, well, that's what customer service is for. So then I got the online customer service. And then they were so slow in answering questions that I gave up. So one of 2 things, either I'm going to need to phone them and order it, or go there and order it, which I'd rather not do, or maybe get it from Amazon. Yes, Becca's saying, we actually mentioned that on Friday, Becca, that she doesn't have COVID, and she had it checked both on the long-term check and on the rapid one, and that's great. So the virus that you've got, whatever it is no joke, but it's not COVID. So you've just got, I hate to say this, you just got a regular flu, not the COVID one. And that doesn't mean you're not sick. All right, so Jody was saying her frustration has been her medical stuff, all right? But she's trying to keep a positive mindset about it, because getting negative about it, right, is not going to help her. And so that's really important. I'm not aware of any birthdays this week. If anybody's got one, please let us know. Now, I want to give Jeannie full credit, because she came up with some great names for some of the members of the indoor garden. And one of the things I want to say is I literally went, why didn't I think of that? You remember that I named the first seed that comes out of here, the lemon seed, Don. It's going to be Don Lemon. All right. And after I closed the broadcast, I went, wait a minute, what about Lululemon? That'll be the second one. But then Jeannie came up with Lena Lemon, Lala Lemon, and Lily Lemon. So, I've only got 3 seeds in here, I think, but so we will have lots of nice names for the lemons if they sprout. So Becca is saying she's getting lots of rest and taking things easy. Yes, and that's the subject of today is, know when to rest your body, when it's had enough. Because, it's not being lazy. It's about give your body a chance. Jeannie's saying her frustration, she called the credit card places to have all the change of address and everything else done. Everything went through except one. I held on for 10 minutes and then shut down. Yes, I was really lucky on that one, Jeannie, because I was able to keep my mailing addresses exactly the same. And all I did was I came through twice a week and picked up my mail. So I didn't have to go through that. And Becca's saying she went to Walmart to get some stuff to make her better, and wow, that was a chore. You mean in terms of not feeling well? And not only that, but how many, it must have been worrying for you that you might give it to other people as well. You see, that would be my concern. I was wondering, why not order it online and have it delivered rather than infect other people? It's just a thought. And I'm sure that you were wearing a mask and everything, but it's just like, if you're that sick, she said she's walking around still like a turtle, I'm sure. I wanted to come up with, to give you a couple of other names that Jeannie came up with. She came up with Tammy the tomato. I thought that was cute. And definitely gets a gold star for Spike the spinach. We were having a problem trying to think of names that began with SP for the spinach. And I thought Spike was a great, great name. Judy did send a reminder to anybody, if you are growing mint, if you ever grow mint, know it's an invasive species, all right? In other words, you plant this in the garden and the next thing you're going to know. Oh, Spencer spinach is another great one. Jody, can you keep a note for that for me? Anyway, the thing is that if you plant this in the garden, it will take over. I can remember when I moved into my house 20 years ago, I took one variegated leaf type thing that was in a basket and took it with me, and I planted it, and within 5 years it had taken over my garden. Oh, Sparky the spinach, there you go, another SP name. Well done, Becca. So keep it in a pot is what I'm trying to say. Don't put it in the garden if you want to have a garden, because otherwise the mint will take over. Just giving it a bit more water while I'm there. Now, I've got another couple of things that I wanted to talk to you about the gardens, but I'll do that in a minute. Yeah. Yeah. What I wanted to show you is the different speed at which some things are growing. How can I show you this? Okay. So in the hydroponic system, this is the kale growing. It's looking quite healthy. I'm just going to take it out and put it back in the system. However, it had two that came up before that, and I took them out and I put them in some regular soil in a toilet holder center, toilet roll center. And you can see it's loving it in there, all right? Those are growing really strongly. And my game for the week in terms of the hydroponics is, I couldn't help but wonder, would seeds grow in water beads. And there's only one way to find out, right? So I ordered up some water beads like this. And Jeannie was saying that I needed some tarragon. So Jeannie, in there, I've got water beads and about 5 tarragon seeds. And I want to see if they grow and whether the water pellets will hold, will hold them strong enough. And what happens, What are water beads? Okay, water beads, wait a minute, Becca. Better I show you. You find them a lot in air fresheners. They look like that, right? But they actually start off looking like this, tiny. When you put them in water, they absorb the water. And these I put in yesterday, and they've absorbed the water, and they are now this big. So they are water-infused beads now. Okay, so, and I'm glad I took that out because it needs more water. But I thought, you know me, I'm always going, what if, and I thought, what if I try growing seeds in water beads, will it work? And then my concern is, what about algae? And we'll find that out. That's what the experiment is for. You know me. Why would I ask myself the question, why don't I just try it and see what happens? And that's what I do, as you know. Hang on, So here's the thing. We see it in the body, that if you give the body enough rest and comfort, it has remarkable self-healing capabilities, and so does the spirit. I don't know what Orbeez are. It looks to me like it's the same thing, right? So I think it just gets called a different name, maybe. Sometimes they're called crystal beads. It depends, what they are. I don't know what they are. So I'd have to look that up, and I don't have time right now. But thank you for asking. I'm pretty certain we'll find out, all right? So do you understand? If it works, it'll be a very clean way to grow things. And however, my concern is, what about the algae? Does the algae cling to the beads, or can you wash it off the beads? All right, that's what I'm going to be finding. Thank you, Jody. Orbeez start as seeds and grow into more than 150 times their volume. They start as seeds. All right, but are they used to give moisture to things? What are they used for? Jody, do you know? Thanks for looking it up, Jody. I appreciate that. All right, could you leave me a note so that I can look into them a bit more? Thanks for the question, Becca. We're all going to learn something. All right, so that was one thing that I got. Unboxing time, right? One thing I was really missing in my shower was one of those nylon goodies like this. And what I found was it was a really good idea to buy a set of 4. Now, I'm not sure if I will need a set of 4, but they were so nice. Don't you think they're pretty? And they can hang in my shower nicely. But I thought, even if I don't use them, by Christmas, they will make a nice thing to throw in the stocking stuffers for somebody. So I bought more than I thought I needed for that reason. It's like everything else. Buy it bigger than you need, because then you can do things. All right. I think you all know that I'm on a big mission at the moment to do away with one-use plastic. Yeah, like cling wrap type stuff. Well, not the cling wrap. Yeah, the original cling wrap, where you only use it once and then you throw it away. I don't mind using press and seal. I do use press and seal, but I use it and I wash it and dry it and then reuse it. Okay, so that to me, that's not a one-use thing. However, for the main part, I use silicone covers, right? And I have them in all sorts of different sizes, so that rather than use plastic wrap, if you like, that I'm using silicone, which I can reuse, I can throw it in the dishwasher and so forth. However, all these that I have are round, and unfortunately for me, not everything that I cook in is round or have in the fridge is round. So what I did this week was to get myself the things I want to show you. Hang on a second. They make flat ones, and they're getting better all the time. And the set that I got came in a set of 4 like this. And by the way, it was a pack of 4, lots of 4. Again, I'm thinking it was a really good price for the 4 sets. And guess what? They're going to go into stocking stuffers as well. But what I wanted to show you is how well they work. So although, for example, this is a square one, all right, you pull it off its container, one side has got bobblies on it, and the other side is flat. And for some reason, goes against logic, but you put the flat side, not the bobbly side down. So even though this is square, you just pull it. I don't know if I can do this with one hand. It's very sticky to itself. The only thing you have to be careful of, if, like me, you have long nails. Okay, so what I do is I put it like that from corner to corner, and then stretch the other corners around. And how do you know if it's sealed? It sounds like a drum. That's a really good idea, okay? Now, the second size, the biggest size that it comes in is this size. And I was a bit concerned about that. So this is a square, as you can see, a square casserole dish. And I just thought, let me try. So let me show you. Again, be careful if you've got long nails. So I'm going corner to corner first, opposite corners, like that. Then I stretch that over and down. Stretch that over and down. How about that? There we go. So, and when you've used it, all right, just take it off, huck it in the dishwasher, and let it dry, Be careful of your nails, because you can puncture it with your nails, all right? And then if you can, put it back on that piece of film that it came on. So I'm just going to put it back like that. But the main thing is it's reusable. And that's what we're trying to get away from, single-use plastic, right? So here's this one. It comes off really easily. And we'll put it there. So I thought I'd just show you, and how simple is that? So Becca made a comment about, that we're only in April and I'm thinking Christmas. Oh yeah, because I like to do that, Becca, so that I don't get a big hit of money needs at Christmas time. All right, so Jeannie's saying she often buys the lock and lock containers. All right, so that's another way if you do that. So anyway, I thought I'd show you. And by the way, when I buy plastic bags, I wash all my plastic bags in my dishwasher. When I've used them, they go into the dishwasher, inside out, and get clean. What I was going to say, if you're going to buy plastic bags, don't buy the cheap ones. Buy the best quality you can, because they'll last you a year. And then some. All right, so that's what I got. What else did I get? Okay, here you go. The other thing I got were, you remember I said on Friday, think a season ahead. So I'm starting to buy seeds ready for the summer. All right, so Jody's saying that she gets obsessed with insulated water bottles. Yeah, I've got a few. I've got a collection of water bottles as well. And the rest of them are lower down. I think we all have that problem going on, Jody, but worth knowing that you're not alone is what I wanted you to know. I think a lot of us have that problem. You got to think about how much we push our bodies, and that, am I the only one that has a challenge in stopping? My challenge is not doing things. My challenge is to say that's enough. Did any of you like that? It's like, it's really difficult to stop. And what did I do with my stylus? There we go. For me, I had to give myself permission to stop this weekend. And that was enough. And it was difficult because I wanted to carry on. Oh, you keep a pitcher of water in your fridge and refill it often. I have one on my counter, mainly because if I want ice in it, I just add ice. And as I think you all know, I've got lemon, lime, and mint in there. And then it becomes a sort of like a spa water. And that's what I have in this jug. Right, seeds. What did I get for seeds? What did I do with the rest of them? Here we are. So I wanted perennial seeds. That means that they will come back every year. I got some yesterday, and that was yellow alyssum or alyssum, depending which country you're in. In England, I know they call it alyssum, but I think in North America, you call it alyssum. And so I got yellow of that because my house is yellow. And then I bought some African daisy seeds. because I remember them being a wildflower. When my time in Africa, I bought some. This will be interesting if it works. They are apparently purple sunflowers. What do you think? Purple, not yellow. That was worth it just to try. And I'm going to put them where my irises are, because if I put them in now, then by the time the irises die down, these will be coming up behind them, which will be great. So we'll try that. What else did I buy? Where'd the rest? Okay. All right, so Jodie's saying about the rest thing, you're not alone. I know when I need to rest, but my mind won't always cooperate with my body. It says do more today. Yep, I totally had to take control of that. And especially as I was so close to doing the full marathon for the week. And I went, no, doesn't matter, Sal, go to bed. You need to rest. All right, Sweet William, otherwise known as Dianthus. I got some of that because I like that and I love the smell. I got some chrysanthemums because they will come up every year. And I got some columbine because it was a favorite of my mom's. Aquilegia, I think it's called, right? And just some carnations as well. So those are all going to go in my front garden in the various pots that I have. And I will just throw a few of each in each pot, and then hopefully we'll have a nice show. Now, I do have stuff that I put in last year, but owing to the fact that I don't know what's going to come up, we'll just add some things to it. So I'm quite excited about doing that. And obviously, I'm going to be planting the seeds now, so by the time it gets to summer, they'll be big enough to put out in the garden. Will they work? I don't know, but I'll have fun. So that is awesome. Oh, interesting. Becca's saying that her screensaver is actually sunflowers, not purple ones, though. Now, I was hoping that Beth would be here because I have something that might be of interest to Beth. I bought some stuff which is a cleaning wax for your car, but it actually works on the windows as well. All right, it works on paint, chrome, rims, glass, and plastic. And what you do is you spray this foam on and wipe it where you want to clean, and then take a dry rag and wipe it off again, and it will leave a film to protect your car. And I was thinking, I originally bought it for my car, which desperately needs it, by the way, but I was thinking that would be really good for my shower. And that's why I was hoping that Beth would be around, because I'm doing some experiments right now. So Beth, if you happen to watch this, I'll let you know. And if anybody sees Beth come in, remind me to show her that I'm trying that. Because I was amazed how quickly the stains started on my brand new shower doors, because I've got hard water here. You know, it's well water. And so already I'm having to do that. Okay, let's put all these things away again. Go away, that can go away. So, I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about what am I having for dinner? And we're getting closer to me being cooking again on the worktop here. But first of all, this is my daily bread. You know, I make myself a daily bread. And here it is. It's going to go into the oven. It's grown so much that it's almost misshapen now. But it's going to go into the oven after I finish the broadcast. By the way, I use my toaster oven for it because why why fire up a big oven if you don't need to? But the fun thing I'm doing tonight is, you will remember that I got myself a little sausage mold, all right? And what I'm going to do is I've got some turkey that I've defrosted here, just about done. And what I'm going to do is to make turkey apple sausages. And I'm going to put this turkey into my blender. I will probably just use this one, and I will crumble it all up and mince it up in the blender. And then I will take apple and do the same with that. I'm going to take bacon and crumble that up as well. And then same with some carrots. I'm going to add onion. I've got some a little bit of leftover bread, so I will put one heel of bread in there. I'll put in an egg and some herbs. Oh, Jeannie, talking about herbs, I got the tarragon. Hang on, what did I do with it? Yeah, I've got tarragon growing now, and thank you for the suggestion. So that is in my herb garden now. It won't be ready, obviously, by tonight, but yeah, it's there. So that's what I'm going to do. And what I'm going to do is individually crumble it all up, throw it all into one bowl, and then mix it up. And then I will pack it into here. Can you see that? Right? Put the lid on like this, and then put it in the oven. I've got 2 of these, so I'm probably going to have enough to do at least 6, maybe 9. And then I will cook them at about 350, 400, somewhere in there, that range, until they crisp up. And then I've got really healthy bites. And, when I say healthy bites, what I'm inclined to do with them is to have them with some mayonnaise or something and just dunk them in like I'm having, chicken fingers, but what I got is turkey bites. And so I wanted to just show you that it's very easy to do, get creative. The main thing is that I am putting in, a lot of vegetable into it as well, apples and vegetables. So, and you don't notice it, quite honestly, when it's all cooked up. You don't notice that it's got vegetables in it, but it is a nice way to do that. By the way, did anybody try the ice cream, the banana-based ice cream that we talked about last Friday? Because I want to tell you something. I have had 2 lots now, and I go, how did I live a lifetime without that? Oh, Jodie's saying we also love chicken and apple sausages. Yes, and I didn't have chicken, but I did have turkey. So I'm going, what's the diff, right? And that's what I'm going to do. Now I might put in, I'm not sure yet, but I might put in, have I got any? Let me see here. Oh, yeah. I might put in a tablespoon of major grade chutney. That has a really tangy taste to it. And that would taste so good in there. Jeannie's saying, for a quick lunch, I saute half an onion, 2 portobello mushrooms, small, asparagus spears, and then added a packet of ramen noodles, some wholesome sauce, 2 pieces of ham, place it all in a bowl and enjoy. Yes, okay, let's go through that again. So just saute some onions, half an onion, a couple of portobello mushrooms. That's quite a lot of mushroom. Anyway, asparagus spears. I've got asparagus in the house, so that's good. Then add 1 packet of ramen noodles. I've got lots of that. Some wholesome sauce, some pieces of ham. Yeah, a great idea. All right, Becca, good to see you. Thank you for popping in, and take care, honey. So glad you're okay. Anyway, so I think that's going to be quite tasty. And I'm now really looking forward to it. I'd forgotten that I got the Major Grey. If you don't like that Major Grey, you could add plum sauce just to give it a little bit of the tang. Major Grey is like one level up on the plum sauce. Same sort of idea. So basically, all is going quite well here. I'm pretty happy with what's going on, even though I'm frustrated with the fact I can't get the IKEA units I want. I did hear back. You remember I had a problem with my small keyboard, the folding one, where one of the letters has stopped working. I did hear back from the manufacturer of that keyboard. And first of all, they tried to tell me I needed to do a whole lot of other things, to get it to work. And I just wrote back and said, let me tell you what I've already done. I've already used it on 4 different applications. I have already used it on 3 different computers. Tried it on 3 different computers. And in all cases, the P doesn't work. So now they're going to send me a new one. Yay. So I wanted you to understand that the challenge of giving yourself permission to rest is an important one for you to consider and to be aware of. And I wanted to know from you guys, because you are smart, how do you know whether you're being lazy or that your body just needs you to rest up? How can you tell the difference? Because I think it's important for us to think about where that difference lies, all right? For many of us, what we think is, if I rest now, I am being lazy. And so seriously, how do you know it's not being lazy, but you actually need the rest? Anybody? What I found was that I was so tired, both physically and mentally, that I was close to tears. And that's when I said to myself, if you're that tired, then this is not a time to be doing more. This is a time to stop and go and rest. Jody's saying her body sends physical signals if I really need to rest. Yes, I found that, the close to tears thing told me, it was like my body was crying out literally for me to stop. All right, so Jeannie is saying that her chiropractor told me to be active but not to overdo it because of my knee. I lie down with an ice pack and do not feel guilty. We have much mental strain going on right now. Yes, and I was really aware of that as well, Jeannie, all right? And Jody's saying, I cannot function, my anxiety increases and my face flushes. Yes, so the body will tell you this is like enough. And I would ask you to listen to it. Obviously, if you spend all day in bed every day, you are either highly depressed or you are being lazy. It depends. I've always said the way I can tell whether I'm depressed or not is, can can I get out of bed and do things? I spent many years being depressed, and now I know that if I can control my mind enough to get out of bed and go and do stuff, that I'm not depressed. All right, because that is, to me, depression is when you can no longer control your mind; it controls you. Do any of you, have anybody been there and know what I'm talking about? It just you can't control it anymore. You know intellectually that you should get up and do something, but you just can't control your mind enough to do it. And that to me was like, I don't ever want to get there again. I've been there, done that, and it does not suit me. So now I am aware. And I literally went to bed in the afternoon yesterday and I slept for 4 hours and then got up. And funny enough, when I got up, I emptied another 6 boxes. And it wasn't because I was feeling guilty. I just felt good enough that I got up and said, okay, let me empty a box, feeling strong, and luckily the first box I opened, it was really easy to unpack. And then I did another one that was really easy to unpack. And I stopped at, I think it was 5 or 6. I stopped because I got to a really difficult one. And I went, no, I'm not in the mentality to do a difficult one. Jodie's saying, absolutely relatable. You can't think past the weight and the fog of the depression. Yes. And that's why I thought I would mention that. Jenny's saying she got up early and packed many boxes for the pod. York tripped over a rug and hurt his back. And she's really glad that the boys lugged the heavy things. I'm amazed that they didn't have packers come in and do that for you. Why did they not? Why, the insurance company made the mistake. Why are they not doing that? I see no reason at all why York or the boys are doing that. That they should be sending in a packing crew. They made the mistake, Jeannie. Anyway, it's done. But definitely don't do, even when I moved from the last place back to here, I did a lot of the packing only because I wanted to know exactly where things were. Junie's saying we're choosing our battles. A battle that could hurt you, i.e. lifting heavy furniture and moving stuff like that, I think is one that I would, at your age, definitely have the insurance company involved in. That's not you being picky. They made a mistake. This, to me, this is something, anyway, but you are smart enough to know which battles you want to fight, and this isn't one of them. And so, but it becomes ammunition, I guess you can say, well, I didn't charge you to do X, Y, and Z, so excuse me. I'm not sure how that works, but I hope it works well for you. I just want to put that away before I forget. So, excuse me, I just need to eat something. Apparently my body is telling me I need to eat something, so I'm going to have a couple of raisins here. What are your goals for this week, people? What is it you want to achieve? I've got a couple of things. Obviously, I'm going to continue to do the unpacking of 2 boxes a day. I'm going to have to be a bit careful because I'm now at the stage where I'm packing more stuff than I have room for. That means it's time to start chucking stuff. But my problem is I only get to chuck so much a week. Every 2 weeks, I get one small, like half a garbage can that I can put out on the road. So now what I'm going to do is start filling up bags that will eventually end up in that bin, but week by week. So I'm going to get some big contractor bags and put stuff in there, knowing that it's going to end up in the garbage. If it's not stuff that I can give away. Junie's saying, supposedly it's illegal to get us out while we have a COVID crisis. But again, we decided to stop fighting. Okay, your choice. So, but it wasn't the fault of the people who own your apartment. It was the fault of the insurance company. So that's the whole thing. All right, Jody's saying her goals are getting my phone calls and paperwork finished by Wednesday. Our vaccines are scheduled for Thursday. Okay, that's exciting for you. Presumably you don't know which one you're going to get. So that'll be interesting to see. I think that we all need to remember that getting vaccinated is the important thing. And, you know, which one you get. Again, I would remind you, I said to my sister this week that, you know, in regard to the Johnson & Johnson, because she had the Johnson & Johnson one, and I said, you know, I think if I'm correct in saying this, there's a 1 in 500,000 chance you will get struck by lightning. 1 in 500,000. Okay. And here, the Johnson & Johnson, it's 1 in what, 7 million? And the problem with the other one, the AstraZeneca, was 1 in 70 million. So it's like you got more chances of getting struck by lightning, people. And only if your body happens to react to this antibody, you know, and, you know, it's like, I'm sure it's more dangerous to get in the car and go to Walmart. So, you know, it's like, please just go and have the vaccine if you can. Yes, and that is the point. Jody's doctor said point blank, you will not survive COVID. Get whatever vaccine they want to give you. I quite agree with that, Jody. That's, you know, like when I heard, okay, I got the Pfizer one. When, funny enough, I would have liked to have had the Johnson & Johnson because I wouldn't need to go back. But now I'm hearing that even though I will go back in 6 weeks to get my booster on the Pfizer, it's not in this arm, it's in this arm, we still might need a third one because of all the variants that have come out. So I think what will happen now is we think, you know, on some of these, we're only going to have to 1 or 2. You know, Johnson & Johnson was a single shot one. I think that might end up having to be 2 because they're going to need to give you the booster, including the ones, the variants, you know, the UK variant and the South African variant and all those sort of things will need to be covered as well. But I agree with your doctor. You know, I don't mean to tell a doctor what to do, but, you know, get it while you can. And if you can, if you're lucky enough to live in a country where you can get it. I heard that they are stopping a lot of the delivery to Canada, obviously because they're being offered more money by somebody else. I don't want to say who. Another country is offering more money, obviously. So a lot of our vaccines are being stopped, the ones that were earmarked to come to us. So be prepared to get booster shots and get them. Now, the other thing is this, that like Becca, be aware that you can still get a regular flu. And that is the trick. Everybody that gets the regular flu now is going to think they've got COVID. And not necessarily so. Okay? So, I'm trying to think what other goals I had for this week. I've got some of you remember my patio umbrella. It is looking very cruddy after the winter. It stayed out all winter and it looks dirty. So I'm going to get out, you know, some heavy duty cleaner and try and get that cleaned up because it looks really nasty. And I must say that I think I'm going to be doing both those dirty jobs probably either tomorrow or Tuesday, because there's still going to be nice weather for the next couple of days before the rains come back. We've had almost 10 days of beautiful summer weather. It's just incredible. Judy's saying we get our flu shots early in September. Yeah, and I think but the question is, every year the number of flus that are about. That is the difficulty now. There are so many different flus now, and I'm not sure whether we keep putting more and more of these antibodies into our system. I'm not quite sure what the downside of that is. But as Jody said, if you have a compromised system, as she does, and I do, that, you need to get them, regardless of the risk. So that is just the main thing. How many hours sleep do you get? That's my question to you. On average, how many hours sleep do you get? And what is your goal about improving your sleep? I am working my way back. My goal is to work my way back to getting 7.5 to 8 hours sleep. I was doing that until the move. I was doing that fairly well. And I've noticed since the move, I am only sleeping about 6.5. And that isn't because I'm not comfortable. It's because I've got so much on my mind that I still have to do. So Jody's saying she averages now between 5 and 8 hours. Well, Jody, that is pretty good for you, because I can remember when your sleep pattern was 3 hours. So you've made great inroads on that one. What do you think has made the difference? Jeannie works at getting at least 7 hours sleep a night. Good. And so I think my average last week was about 6.5, which, is getting better. It's not where I want it to be, but it's definitely getting better. Let me just look here. Yeah, my average last week was 6 hours and 24 minutes. So it's getting there. And now I'm just working on, giving myself permission to and getting to bed earlier, not doing binge watching late at night, and literally saying to myself, this is the time and it's time to go to bed. Yeah, but I'd like to see another episode of, yeah, I know you would, but go to bed. And that's what I'm doing. Jody's saying, having a routine to unwind at night, being mindful of stress and not having a heavy meal too late at night. Yes, I've also been adjusting that as well, Jody. Thank you for the learning, because I have learned that from you. I, for example, last night made myself a soup rather than a meal. And when I say a soup, I literally strained the pulp out of the soup and just had the broth. And it filled me up beautifully. And I didn't find myself snacking too much after it either, trying to think, what did I have? I think I had a couple of grapes before I went to bed, but that was all I had after I had had the soup. And it's like I'm trying to find a better way to end my day in terms of food intake. Jeannie's saying, I really enjoy waking up alone, getting my newspaper, reading it quietly at the table. And then her dog, Misty, wakes up and needs to go out. Yes, I think everybody's got their own different clock, right? Jody's saying our dinner time was anywhere between 9 and 11 for years. That's amazing, isn't it? And, how many people do we know that the dinner time for them is 5 or 6 o'clock at night? And I'm going, wow, What do you do for the rest of the evening? So it's just everybody's timetable is different. I was saying this to somebody, the electrician that came in to recertify my house. He said to me something about he's about 4 years away from retirement. And I said, I just want to give you a heads up on this one. Take it from somebody who found out. And he said, what's that? And I said, for the first 6 months, you're going to feel guilty. And you're going to keep saying, I better get up because, and then you realize there is no because. You don't have to get up anymore. But your body is so used to thinking that Monday to Friday. I said, but then the other thing is you're going to find out after about a year that your body has a totally different time clock from the one that you've been working on for the last 50 years. 40 years, whatever it is. I said, my natural clock apparently is to go to sleep about 2 o'clock in the morning and wake up about 10. And I said, that's the interesting thing to me is what does my body do naturally? And it isn't go to sleep at 8 or 9 or whatever. It's, it literally will stay awake. But it's something that you learn to deal with. And my neighbors, Betty Ann has the same clock as I do, but her husband is still on getting up early clock. He never let that go. And so you can imagine he spends half the day on his own puttering around, quite happy. It works for them, And it definitely, and I know the conversation started because I said something about, I don't allow people to come into the house before midday. And I said, that's because I don't get up until 10. And he said, nice for some. And I said, you know something? I worked a lifetime for the right to now be able to get up when I want to. Yes, Jeannie's saying, Jody, how European. In Portugal, everybody, including children, dine at 9 p.m. Yes, but not necessarily European because the Brits don't do that. But I would say, and those countries that have siesta, so Spain and Portugal and those sort of, where they're inclined to take a noon nap, they eat later. The Mediterranean countries, particularly. Isn't it amazing? It's like, and how many of you are going, that's really quite healthy, go and have a quick nap at lunchtime. Well, if I have a quick nap at lunchtime, I don't wake up again until 4. Maybe that's what siesta is meant to be. I don't know. But if I allow myself to do it, I actually feel great. I felt great when I went to sleep yesterday and then woke up and felt really quite productive for another 3 or 4 hours and then went to sleep and slept well. So might get into the habit of doing that. All right, everybody. So there we are. I'm going to now go and make my turkey sausage. I'm going to cook my bread. Oh, another thing I was thinking. Which is, and I won't do it today because I've already made the loaf, but I was thinking I'm going to try making little like scones. I'm going to use a scone cutter to cut out little rounds of bread and actually literally make myself portion control that way. Do you understand what I'm saying? Hang on. So, for example, tomorrow, I believe that I'm going to be making myself a pizza because I've got too much tomato and stuff in the fridge. So what I will do is I'll take my daily bread, which is busy doing its thing right now, And instead of making a loaf, I will roll it out and make a mini pizza. And then I will also make myself a cup. I literally, with the pizza, when I'm doing it, I will cut some rounds and just make some individual little rounds of bread and see how that works. I've never done that. And which saves me having to cut up bread. We can try it. All right, Jody's saying, during primary education, at the first basic stage, children attend school from 9 to 3:30. Huh. Did I make a meal for the neighbors? No, I tried to get that organized, and quite honestly, it didn't work out. One of the neighbors that I would have invited has some major oral, tooth issues going on. And so I said I would wait until the end of the month when he's got that fixed. Just, not a biggie. All right, so that's it. And it's going to be a busy week. I'm hoping by the time Friday comes around, I will have built my Here we go. I'm looking at building this week, which I don't think is going to be that difficult. It's my shower chair, and it's bamboo. And from what I can gather, it just stays in the shower, and every now and then I will just oil it. What did it say? I think it said simply wash it. I think it said every year or so, just give it some bamboo oil, and it will be fine. So that's good. All right, so I'm off to go and make sausages because I'm feeling hungry now. I hope you learned something new, and I hope that you enjoyed the chit chat. I definitely must say that it's always interesting for me to go, okay, what are we going to do today? Bamboo has antibacterial properties, really. I didn't know that. I like it because it's a renewable resource. And it's not like trees. It's easier to grow than trees. So that's why I'm buying bamboo now, wherever I can. And I just thought it would look really pretty in the shower and be functional for me later. It's quite heavy. I'm surprised. Actually, they call it bamboozy. The wood. Hang on a second. Let's have a look at that while I'm here. Hang on. Let's see what it looks like. Uh-oh. Come on. Yeah, it's quite heavy. Surprisingly heavy. So now the question is it heavy because it's so thick? Oh, there you go. That's unboxing time. Yeah. So, and as you can see, it's very sturdily made. So this is pretty thick bamboo. It's not just like pretty thin layers. It looks like it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers of bamboo on it. So that's quite heavy, surprisingly so. Don't think it'll take a lot of screws in that one. It should take me, probably half an hour to put that together. If things go right, so we'll allow an hour. And I think it said here it would take up to 300 pounds, and I don't intend to get there. So we will see. By the way, I think I lost 3 pounds this week. Could be wrong, but I think that's what it was last time I checked. Be interesting to see. I've lost about 2 inches around my waist. And let's hope that that continues. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, time to turn on the oven, bake my daily bread, and make some sausages. Have a wonderful week. Remember to rest your body. And please take it easy. To my favorite mother clucker, she probably heard that I was going to get the moss off my garage and my shed roof and would start worrying about me doing that. Jody, I have got a hose and I have got an attachment for the hose that I should be able to do that without even needing to get onto a ladder. I may get onto a ladder just to do the difficult side because I will get a better angle, but I do have a very safe, very strong, very safe ladder to do that with. But I've got a feeling with the gizmos that I've got, I probably won't even necessarily need to do that. The mother clucker was clutching her pearls. I just thought to myself, I'm sure she didn't miss that, and that would worry her. So tell her not to worry. If I don't intend to do anything stupid, that's for sure. So, and the thing is this, that I should be able to put the mixture into a container, which will then come out of the hose. Do you know what I mean? One of those bottles that the water comes in through the bottle and then out. So I don't think I'm going to need to get up on a ladder. You were going to send me a message later. Aren't you just so kind? This is DearMamaSal saying, the day I'm going to worry is when we don't care about one another. Have an awesome week. I hope that it is just another life type week. Don't expect it to be stressless because that wouldn't be realistic. Don't expect it to be without some feelings going on. It's just going to be life, and let's do it and let's have some fun. Pace yourself. This is DearMamaSal saying, see you Friday. Bye-bye for now.